After the city's elite circles as heiress lost her amnesia, she pursued me relentlessly. I pretended to be Sophia's boyfriend for 3 years, only to find that I had actually fallen for her. Just as she got pregnant and I decided to propose, I overheard the senior who used to campus bully me tell her, "Sophia, thank you for faking amnesia to get revenge for me, pranking Ryan 99 times. As long as you reach 100 pranks, I'll date you." That's when I learned that Mark was her ideal guy / the one she couldn't have, the one she loved but couldn't have. And I was just the clown she used to please him. Later, I died in a plane crash. Sophia frantically searched through the wreckage like a madwoman but only found one ring. Inside, it was engraved / the 100th prank, I bet you love me. They say Sophia knelt in the wreckage and cried until she went into shock and was taken to the hospital. When she woke up, she became enemies with everyone who had participated in pranking me. Meanwhile, amidst the snow in France, I smiled and burned my medical records. She faked amnesia to fool me into giving my heart, I faked my death to teach her a lesson. Behind a single wall. Mark's voice rose slightly, "Sophia, prank game number 96 cleared." Sophia's voice held an unfamiliar mockery. "Does Mark find it amusing? Getting revenge for your future brother-in-law, of course. Who told Ryan to steal your president's scholarship and game design competition champion title?" Sophia's friends chimed in, "Your future brother-in-law. Once Ryan hits 100, Miss Sophia can officially announce you too." My blood ran cold. I still say Sophia knows how to play. Coming up with the idea to fake amnesia and prank Ryan. The first time she made Ryan search for that bracelet in the rain, and then his expression when she gave it to Mark. That was the bracelet my mother gave me before she died. Sophia said she lost it when she moved. That day, I searched for 7 hours in the downpour and ran a fever of 104 degrees. My fingernails dug into my palms. I also clutched the ring I had planned to use to propose to Sophia. The most insane was on the thesis defense day. Sophia lied and said he got drunk and beaten up in a bar. Her friends burst out laughing. Ryan rushed to the bar only to find no one there. I secretly filmed him crying and begging his advisor. That time, I abandoned my thesis defense, which I'd prepared for 6 months, to go find Sophia, and ended up having to postpone graduation. Mark chuckled, and that time, she folded paper airplane out of Ryan's game design documents that he'd stayed up 3 nights working on. He picked them up all night with red eyes, truly like a stray dog. Sophia laughed along appropriately. How should we prank Ryan this time? Let's say Sophia went to the hospital and tell him to hurry over. How about we go party and leave him waiting for nothing? My phone vibrated instantly. It was Sophia / City Hospital Emergency Room, come quick. But 2 minutes later, Sophia unsent it, as if she regretted lying to me. I pretended not to receive it and didn't reply, playing along. Actually, I had anticipated these things. While Sophia was showering, I accidentally found an encrypted video on her phone called Game Progress. There were 96 videos. Exactly the same as the number of pranks I'd been subjected to. The password was Mark's birthday, 12/24. She had lied and told me it was the day she first saw me. Last year on that day, I waited for her in the snow for 3 hours on Christmas Eve. But she was sharing drinks / toasting with Mark at Sophia's family mansion until late at night before she finally came. Sophia carefully wrapped the scarf around my neck, her eyelashes dusted with snow, full of affection, seemingly cherishing me deeply. A dull ache surged in my heart. I opened my texts. I found that in the pinned conversation, she reported the prank progress to Mark every day, line after line / "Today I lied to Ryan saying I to work overtime, but I actually went to Disney with you. Ryan waited until 3 a.m. / I deliberately told Ryan his competition time was 2 hours later. His expression while running in his pajamas was hilarious. The last message was from the day of the class reunion. When Mark accidentally spilled hot coffee, Sophia instinctively shielded me. But the chat history said / touching him feels dirty, sprayed disinfectant 3 times. I called Dad and told him I wanted to move to Paris with him. 5 years ago, after Mom passed away, he had been living in the place where they fell in love, spending the rest of his life there with her memory. But I had stayed back home / in the States for Sophia, refusing to study abroad, unable to see Dad even once a year. I once thought that if I could warm Sophia, this block of ice, I would see spring. But I forgot that when ice melts, all that's left is bone-chilling cold. The moth to a flame true love was just a prank game, and I was merely a clown she used to pursue her ideal guy / the one she couldn't have. Hearing my words, Dad was delighted, saying I had finally come to my senses. I held back tears and hummed in agreement. Dad, when I leave, can you help me stage a plane crash? He didn't understand, but he still agreed. The plane crash was my final gift to Sophia. I would make her regret the name Ryan for a lifetime. I deleted all the photos on my phone. When I went home to pack, a notebook slipped out of Sophia's safe. The dark green cover was stamped with the phoenix symbol from the game Mountain and Sea Ablaze, the initial logo I had designed after 36 sleepless nights. Sophia had printed it on the cover. Inside were all my design drafts, which she had carefully collected, wishing me success in my dreams. Turning to the 7th page, I suddenly stopped. Next to a photo of me wearing glasses and coding, there was a sticky note / Today Ryan yelled at the planner, like a fierce Tibetan mastiff. The revised plan is 10 Ti. MES better. How can such a genius be so adorable? So, every time I pulled all-nighters drawing drafts, Sophia would stay with me, give me massages, and cook noodles. I stayed up too late, so she specially learned to make health teas and prepared nutritious meals for me. She called it a love prank game, but she was clearly deeply involved herself. And the last page held a ticket stub from Valentine's Day last year, in her elegant handwriting / if I could choose again, I would still pretend to lose the ticket and trick Ryan into staying at the airport with me to revise the plan all night. Because I promised Mark, it was the 72nd prank. Raindrops splattered against the bay window. All the love was built on self-deception. She might have loved me, but she loved Mark more. I was just a punching bag. Trembling, I pulled out my phone and booked my departing flight. Late at night, I lay in bed, hearing Sophia come home, pretending to be asleep. The mattress behind me dipped softly, and a pair of arms tightly wrapped around me. Sophia rested her head next to my neck, like a tired bird returning to its nest. Her warm breath carried excitement. We're having a baby, Teddy. I knew. My phone was connected to Sophia's medical system, and I got the prenatal report / pregnancy test results the moment it was available. That's why I spent all my savings on the most expensive diamond ring and rushed to propose to her without hesitation. Only to find that all the love was just a prank. My heart was shattered by the bitterness, the pounding relentless. A baby. In Sophia's belly, there was the last bit of proof of our love from these past 3 years. It was also an oversight in her prank, an accident. Teddy, can you hear me? I had been silent for too long, and Sophia grew a little impatient. Teddy was her nickname for me. She said I was a caramel-colored teddy bear, warmth that belonged only to her, and she wanted me to stay with her forever. I used to believe it deeply, but later I learned that she and Mark laughed about how stupid I was, saying Teddy was something she just made up to fool me for fun. It was just to see me fall from grace, turning into a love-struck idiot. Teddy, we're going to be the best mom and dad, and take good care of the baby. It was as if her subconscious was restricting my departure, demanding that I promise to stay forever. I heard you, I replied indifferently. But I wavered, hesitant about canceling the ticket. Maybe Sophia would abandon the next prank game. Sophia didn't notice anything unusual and pulled out the prenatal report / pregnancy test results. She drew 3 small hearts on it with a fountain pen. It was the Mont Blanc pen I bought her with my first month's salary after starting work. She had carried it with her for years. I didn't respond. Sophia held me tighter, whispering endless sweet words. I reached out and held Sophia close. I'm tired, let's go to sleep early. She immediately fell silent obediently, only saying, tomorrow we're going to Mark's birthday party. Then she quickly fell asleep. But I had overestimated Sophia's regard for me. At the birthday party, Sophia's friends pushed the largest slice of cake in front of her. Sophia, Mark says you love sweets the most, you're as cute as a teddy bear. I looked up at Sophia when I heard this. She avoided my gaze and pretended not to notice as she ate it. The moment the cake entered her mouth, Sophia looked like she felt nauseous and wanted to vomit. But her friends held her down and kept force-feeding her the unfinished cake. Just one bite won't do anything. You said you were going to have a miscarriage prank for Ryan. Don't quit halfway. What are you doing? I realized something was wrong and lunged forward. But Mark stood there with the cake, blocking me. Ryan, it's my birthday today. Give me a break. With that, he had people hold me down and forced cake into my mouth. After eating the cake, Sophia immediately rushed to the bathroom and threw up violently. Blood trickled down her legs from her lower body, a shocking sight. The baby! I wanted to rush in, but Mark blocked the door, grinning. It's just a regular menstruation, very common for girls. Ryan, don't make a big fuss. Before I could say anything, my stomach immediately cramped, a dense, needling pain. I fell to my knees, spitting up white foam nonstop. Sophia's friends laughed loudly and held up their phones to film my humiliation. I fainted on the ground, my consciousness blurring. I finally understood that this birthday party was also a prank. The stakes were me, and the child I had with Sophia. Sophia won again. When I woke up, I heard Mark snickering outside the exam room/consultation room, criticizing Sophia's friends. Did you add too much substance/something in the cake? I thought we agreed just to humiliate Ryan in public. How did it turn into poisoning? The friends giggled. Ruin his stomach is A. Sophia should be thanking me. At least Sophia successfully got rid of the nuisance in her belly. Prank successful. I can't wait to see Ryan's reaction when he wakes up. I filmed Ryan kneeling on the ground spitting up white foam. I'll send it to the group later for everyone to enjoy. Sophia was silent for a long time before she spoke. A prank is a prank, but don't mess with his body. Mark questioned her angrily. Who was it who said they wanted this nerd/geek to taste falling from grace, to get revenge for me? Didn't you suggest the prank? Poisoning Ryan, you having a miscarriage, you said this was my birthday gift. Have you fallen for Ryan? The next second, Sophia denied it as if avoiding something repulsive. How could I? I definitely love you. Laughter and cheerful voices immediately filled the air outside the door again. They celebrated the end of the 98th prank and discussed how to carry out the 99th. I touched my aching stomach. Inside the door, Sophia didn't sound at all like a mother who had just had a miscarriage. It turned out that I, and the child, were truly just a birthday gift she gave to Mark. Sophia orchestrated an amnesia scheme, and I paid with 3 years of genuine affection. Then I would set up a scene of faked death to make her regret it for the rest of her life. I trembled as I reached for my phone to contact Dad. Just then, Sophia walked in. I closed my eyes tightly, pretending to be asleep. I only heard her hoarse voice full of guilt. Ryan, I'm sorry. The reason was obvious. After being discharged from the hospital, Sophia said Mark and their friends wanted to go climb Mount Crest. The mountaintop chapel was said to be effective, and they could pray for our deceased child. She asked me to go with her. I knew this might be another prank, but thinking of the child, the bitterness in my heart was inevitably stirred. After this, I would be going to France, so I would treat it as a final farewell to the child. All the way up, they surrounded Mark, laughing and fawning over him, completely ignoring me. At the memorial tree, Sophia bought a memorial ribbon/prayer tag and wrote the prayer for the child with me. Mark was nearby, praising me. Ryan, you really are a good dad. I ignored his hypocrisy. There weren't many empty spots on the memorial tree. When I hung mine, I had to lean over the railing a bit. I was leaning out halfway when someone behind me gave me a hard shove. I fell forward without any warning, tumbling down the steep mountainside. Intense pain instantly surged through me, spreading to my internal organs. Semi-conscious, I heard Sophia's trembling voice. Teddy, don't be afraid. I'll take you to the hospital. Why? I whispered, my vision blurred with tears. Why would you do this to me? The wound was external, but I felt my heart shatter into pieces. I didn't know they would do this. I really didn't know. When I woke up again, my right leg was encased in a thick cast. The doctor said my leg might have permanent damage. Sophia sat by the bed, her face gaunt, her features etched with pain. Her eyes were full of self-blame and heartache. She drew a small teddy bear on the cast and said softly, "Teddy, I'll stay with you until you recover." I closed my eyes. Sophia tucked the blanket tightly around me, moving gently so as not to disturb me. She then busied herself preparing things I needed for my hospital stay, working for nearly an hour before resting. She seemed like the most responsible and dedicated girlfriend. Yet, she was also the culprit who had brought me to this state. I pretended to be asleep, but my heart was pounding, crying out in pain. Sophia stayed by the bed all night without sleeping, occasionally kissing the teddy bear on the cast, tears streaming down her face. She held my hand tightly, as if afraid I would disappear if she let go. "I'm sorry, Teddy, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have listened to them, I shouldn't have hurt you. Thankfully, I still have a chance. I will never hurt you again. You are my life, Teddy," she whispered, her voice choked with sobs, watching me like that all night. I knew she was hurting because I was injured. The last time, she had told Mark and their friends that it was just a prank, not to hurt my body. I felt a little soft-hearted, but then I thought how ridiculous I was. Sophia's only principal was Mark. This was the 99th prank, I was still just a toy to please him, and Sophia had acquiesced again. But who's to say that for the 100th time, she wouldn't continue to be an accomplice in hurting me? The next day, while Sophia went to buy breakfast, I called Dad. I arranged for bodyguards to pick me up and prepared the plane crash plan. While I waited, Mark arrived. He looked like a victor, smiling with a spring in his step. "Ryan, having you break your leg was part of my plan. This is the 99th prank game." I didn't bother to respond. Mark looked me up and down, then glanced at the designer watch Sophia had given him on his WR. "Ist. For the 100th prank, you'll be accused of plagiarism in the Chiruwe competition. Sophia has given me all the dungeon designs for your game Mountain and Sea Ablaze. She's already bribed the committee. Your submission time will always be 3 minutes later than mine. Just wait to be publicly shamed." Chiruwe was the most authoritative game design competition back home / in the States, and I had been preparing for it for 2 years. The game dungeons for Mountain and Sea Ablaze were right there on my computer. I was furious. I raised my hand and punched Mark. "Stealing my work, wanting my girlfriend. Mark, you'll always only deserve second-hand goods, don't you feel dirty?" Mark's eyebrows shot up, and he was about to slap me. "Now you're the one using second-hand goods." But the slap never landed. "Mark, what are you doing?" Sophia was back, and behind her were the bodyguards Dad had called. For the first time, she lost her temper with Mark. Mark understood that she still had one more love prank game to play and had to maintain a relationship with me, so he didn't say anything and left. Before Sophia could explain, the bodyguards pushed a wheelchair and prepared to take me away. She realized something was wrong and held onto the wheelchair, asking anxiously, "Teddy, what are you doing?" I lowered my head. "I'm going to France for treatment. Dad is too worried about me." Sophia was reluctant, saying she was worried about me. But she was the main reason for my leg injury. I insisted that Dad wanted to see me quickly, so she reluctantly agreed. Then, as if impatient, she booked a flight for tomorrow right in front of me, saying she would come find me, and even asked for my flight number. I paused, MU 5882. She wanted to see me off, but her phone suddenly rang. It was her friend Chloe. "Sophia, hurry! Your future brother-in-law fell down the stairs." Sophia didn't even offer an explanation, not about your future brother-in-law, not about saying goodbye, she just rushed out. I smiled bitterly and told the bodyguards, "Let's go." Airport. "Young master, the flight path is arranged. Mr. Davis said he will create the perfect plane crash scene." The electronic screen at the boarding gate flickered CA 1621. I nodded and boarded the plane to France. 12:24. Sophia said it was the day we first met. True or false, I chose this moment to make her remember me forever. To remember that I died in her prank game, making her regret it for the rest of her life, leaving only sorrow. A second before the plane crashed, I sent Sophia one last text / Sophia, your 100th prank game, I'm playing with my life. My phone immediately blew up with countless calls and messages. MU5882 crash completed. I looked at my phone one last time. A special notification popped up from Mark's alt account on Weibo / Sophia says she wants to show a compilation of pranks on a clown at our wedding. Videos of some people spitting white foam and crying would be perfect for the opening. The picture was of Sophia's safe at the Summit apartment, neatly stacked with 99 voice recorders. Looking at the countless calls from Sophia, I smiled and pulled out the SIM card. She didn't know about the plane crash yet, only that I had discovered her prank game. Doubt, anger, fear, or uneasiness, helplessness? It didn't matter anymore. Dad said making a private jet disappear from radar was like wiping fingerprints off a wedding photo. He told me not to worry at all, and I would disappear completely from Sophia's life. When Sophia heard about the plane crash, she rushed to the accident site without hesitation. She tore through the smoking metal debris with her bare hands. Her custom dress was ripped open by rebar, leaving jagged gashes. Firefighters tried to stop the madwoman, but they were scared off by her bloodshot eyes. My fiancé is in there. He's wearing the teddy bear necklace I gave him today. Just then, a tall, unfamiliar man approached and blocked her. Sophia ignored him, only FO. Cuzzed on kneeling on the ground, changing direction to continue sifting through the wreckage, desperate to see someone familiar. Young Master Ryan's ashes are to be taken back to Paris to be buried with his mother. You failed him. You can never atone for your sins / clear her name. It was Mr. Davis's assistant. Sophia's legs gave out, and she collapsed directly onto the debris-strewn ground. Just then, she spotted a ring. Trembling, she picked it up. It was the style she and I had chosen together at the jewelry store. But inside, it was engraved / 100 pranks, I bet you love me. The words were added later by me. Sophia was struck as if by lightning, her body trembling. Only then did she realize I had known everything all along. And she not only hurt me repeatedly but also acquiesced to Mark and all her friends trampling on and insulting me. In the prank relationship, Sophia had developed feelings for me, but she had deceived herself, pretending she still only loved Mark. Unwilling to lose face in front of Mark and her friends, she dared not admit it. Anyway, in her plan, the 100th prank was coming soon, and I was completely unaware. She could have completely ignored these feelings and continued to act as my perfect girlfriend with false kindness, since I was so deeply in love and couldn't live without her. But she didn't expect that I had discovered it and had been playing along all this time. At this moment, Sophia's heart finally empathized with mine. We dated for 3 years. She habitually stood on my left side, so close to my heart, so intimate, yet always separated by a galaxy, neither hot nor cold. Now she finally felt the pain I had endured. My career ruined, studies postponed / deferred, leg injury, miscarriage, competition failure, betrayal by my loved one. But every time she had a choice, none of these could outweigh a single word from Mark. Sophia knelt in the plane wreckage, heartbroken and dazed, crying until she was on the verge of collapsing exhaustion. Later, she was discovered by kind staff and taken to the hospital. Mark saw Sophia in her dazed, zombie-like state and was displeased. Exactly 100 pranks. Let's go public, Sophia. Sophia didn't react. Entering a competition with a dead man's design, Mark said with a smug laugh, shaking a USB drive. Sophia, do you want to be the awards presenter? Sophia's expression froze, cold as ice. She lunged forward, slapped Mark hard, then grabbed his neck and slammed him against the floor-to-ceiling window. I won't be with you. If you dare touch Ryan's things, I'll make sure you spend your 25th birthday in prison. Mark, we're sworn enemies. Mark clutched his face, furious. Are you crazy? Ryan is dead. Why are you so worked up about him? Don't forget, you were pranking him to get revenge for me. Sophia's friends echoed, yeah, Ryan is finally dead. Miss Sophia is completely free now. Too bad we missed the fun of seeing Ryan make a fool of himself one last time, ha ha ha. I was even planning to find someone to throw feces on Ryan at the design competition. Sophia shouted, Shut up. If it weren't for all these prank games, how would Ryan have died? The friends exchanged glances, then burst into laughter. You were the one who wanted to prank Ryan. You killed him. You're the murderer, aren't you? Don't act so heartbroken. Weren't you the one who put laxatives in Ryan's stomach medicine? Who made him miss his thesis defense? Before she could finish, she was shoved to the ground by Sophia. The few of them got into a brawl. Finally, Sophia collapsed from exhaustion, covered in injuries, and was taken to the emergency room. The last news about Sophia that Dad's assistant brought me was, she became enemies with everyone, frequently self-harmed, muttered apologies to her deceased fiancé, and often visited a psychiatrist/mental health clinic. She even erected a tombstone for me at the city cemetery and spent long periods there, with the game logo we designed together carved into her chest. Everyone in the city's elite circles knew that Sophia had an unforgettable ideal guy/the one she couldn't have who had died in a plane crash. I scoffed and continued to receive the most advanced leg injury treatment in France. 2 years later, I established a studio in France and developed the mythology-inspired fantasy game Mountain and Sea Ablaze that I had designed independently before. I submitted it to the International Game Design Competition under the name Ryan On. Because of its unique design features blending Chinese mythology and a leveling up system, its main style suited the Western market/international market, and its quality was excellent. It won the Gold Award, causing a huge sensation back home/in the States as well. This was the first time a designer of Chinese descent had won the Gold Award in this game competition. The game's auction price quickly rose to first place, constantly increasing, reaching the tens of millions. Countless partners/collaborators also poured into the studio every day. The auction was scheduled for 3 days later. Dad asked me if I wasn't afraid of Sophia coming to find me, being so public about it. It was said that in the city's elite circles, she was already known as the deceased fiancé's madwoman, and no one dared mention Ryan's name in front of her. I didn't care and replied with a smile, 2 years have passed. She's the one trapped in the shadow/trauma, not me. I'm not afraid of anyone now. Dad looked at my legs, which I could now walk on, and nodded. If that awful person/toxic person Sophia dares to hurt you, Dad will chase her away. Mountain and Sea Ablaze was a game I had drawn drafts for stroke by stroke in front of her. She knew almost all the designs. Now that it had won an international gold award, it was impossible for her not to have heard the news and become suspicious. She just never imagined that the plane crash was a faked death. But with a CLUE, investigating would naturally be easier. The day after the International Game Design Competition announced the Gold Award, Sophia appeared at the entrance of my studio. She was frighteningly thin, a shawl hanging loosely on her shoulders, and a phoenix symbol tattoo on her collarbone peeking out from her neckline. Around her neck, she wore the 100th prank ring I had left on the crashed plane. Her eyebrows had become dark and deep due to long-term melancholy, wrapped in an inorganic coldness. The moment she saw me, Sophia's eyes softened and became focused. Teddy, she spoke softly, her voice a little hoarse, congratulations on winning the International Gold Award. Hearing the old nickname, I only felt nauseous. Sophia then held up the dark green notebook in her hand like a treasure and gave a clumsy smile, saying, "Congratulations, your dream has come true." She wanted to keep me with this notebook filled with the past, but I had long discovered it contained Mark's prank instructions and couldn't pretend it was a record of love solely for me. My face was as calm as still water. I said flatly, "Mr. On, did you come personally to present the trophy?" Unfortunately, someone who has died once on the podium cannot accept the blessings of the living. But Sophia ignored the jab. As if confirming that I was still alive, her emotions shattered uncontrollably. Tears instantly fell, her voice trembling. "You're still alive, that's truly wonderful. I thought I had lost you forever." She then pulled out the gold locket my mother had left me. It was the one she had thrown away as a prank and then given to Mark. "Teddy, here, take it back. I was wrong. For the past 2 years, I've lived every day in pain and self-blame. I hate myself for all the things I did to hurt you before. Can you?" The sleeve of her wrist slipped, revealing countless shocking scars, all knife wounds. My heart twinged for a moment, but I couldn't be bothered with her fake affection. I reached for Why mother's keepsake? No! I interrupted her coldly. The Ryan who loved you died 2 years ago in the plane crash. 100 pranks, miscarriage, leg injury. Do you know how many surgeries I had to undergo to stand up again? Sophia, why don't you just die? I lifted my pant leg, exposing the cold metal joint of my prosthetic leg. The scars left by the surgery were wrapped around withered, damaged/deformed muscle. This is all thanks to you. Sophia froze, shocked, her eyes scarlet. Heartache poured into her eyes, unconcealed. I used to desperately wish she would show a little more certainty, a little more love for me in the prank game. But there was none. Sophia gripped my hand and, hearing my words, immediately knelt before me, begging like a pitiful abandoned dog. I know I deserve to die, but since fate brought us back together, it means our connection isn't broken. I beg you, give me another chance, Ryan, Teddy. She was about to hug my leg. I trembled all over, felt nauseous. Let go of me. Sophia, you're crazy. Who are you? Get out! A tall woman rushed over and pulled Sophia away. Due to her long-term state of mental unhealthiness, she instantly collapsed, losing all strength. I took the opportunity to retrieve the necklace. Teresa stood in front of me and asked with concern if I was hurt. I shook my head. She was a game designer in the studio, from Germany, whom I had hired with a high salary. Sophia's face was bitter, filled with the despair of being abandoned and rejected, as she struggled to crawl towards me. Who is she? Do you love her now? Ryan, you can't do this to me. I really can't live without you. What will it take for you to forgive me? Teresa stood in front of me. You are threatening our boss's personal safety. I'm calling the police. Sophia couldn't move. She coughed painfully, her face covered in dust and tears, looking utterly pathetic. I said coldly, whoever she is, it has nothing to do with you. Forgive? Only if you die. I use Teresa's support to walk back into the studio. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the painful mist of being ignored and disregarded in Sophia's eyes. Exactly like I was 2 years ago. The next day, while preparing for the Mountain and Sea Ablaze game auction, I suddenly received a call from the Paris hospital. Sophia had cut her calf. When the ambulance arrived, she was lying in a pool of blood, laughing heartily, murmuring, "This way, Teddy will forgive me." The hospital staff said Sophia only asked to contact me. If I didn't come, she wouldn't accept treatment. The wound was still bleeding profusely. But I couldn't forgive easily. This would be a betrayal of the 2 years I was deceived and the 100 pranks. I politely refused the staff. I am not acquainted with this Miss Sophia. If she truly doesn't want treatment, you can contact a funeral home for her. A trembling shout from Sophia immediately came from the other end of the line. Teddy, my leg hurts so much. I feel like I'm dying. I beg you, will you come see me? Just one look is enough. You used to care about me so much. I felt nauseous and hung up the phone. The old Ryan, as soon as he heard the slightest news about Sophia, would drop everything and rush over. But every time I arrived, either no one was there, or I was met with ridicule from Mark and his friends. Ryan, why are you like Sophia's dog? She just beckons, and you come running? Ryan, you're really pathetic. Being in love to this extent is so embarrassing. You're throwing yourself at her. I truly look down on you. I composed myself, stepped out of the darkness of the past, and continued preparing for the Mountain and Sea Ablaze game auction the next day. This time, I was determined to win. The day before the game auction, in the early hours of the morning, Mark posted a pile of draft/design documents and programming designs on Ryan's Weibo account, including the game's initial framework. The computer displayed a timestamp from 2 years ago. Mark used this to accuse me of plagiarizing his original game. Mark had orchestrated 99 prank games back then, only to be dumped by Sophia in the end. For 2 years, his family business had been targeted by Sophia, and he had been struggling. But now I, the culprit, had come back from the dead, naturally infuriating him. I immediately recognized the designs. They were the game dungeons Sophia had stolen from my computer and given to Mark. On the day I faked my death, Mark had smugly boasted to me that it would be the gold award winner of the Chiruwe game competition, and that he would win under Sophia's protection, while I would be the plagiarist who submitted 3 minutes later. Later, because I was recovering from my injury, I didn't participate in the Chiruwe game competition, and Mark, due to Sophia's threats, didn't dare participate either. I just didn't expect that after 2 years, he would act as if he had nothing to lose, unleashing all the pain and suffering he had endured onto me. The Weibo post immediately topped the trending search list. Instantly, the entire internet was in an uproar. I, the International Gold Award winner, had become an evil plagiarist of an unknown designer. This mudslinging was bound to affect the game's price and reputation, as the auction was scheduled for the next day. At this moment, the official website showed that our game's auction price had dropped to half of its original value. More netizens complained to the competition officials, demanding that a plagiarist like me was not worthy of the gold award and that it should be revoked. My assistant anxiously held up the tablet. It's still not too late to cancel the auction. I touched my right leg, which still ached faintly after rehabilitation, and looked out at the Parisian dawn. Retrieve the source files from the cloud backup from 2 years ago. Clearing my name wasn't difficult, but it would take who knows how much time and cause how much loss to sift through the vast amount of draft/design documents and source files and compile an explanation. Perhaps I wouldn't be able to finish it in a whole night, and my mountain and sea ablaze would be disqualified from the auction. Just as I was enduring a headache and preparing to get to work, the conference room door was abruptly pushed open. Mr. On! Look at the live stream. It's Sophia. I opened my computer. She was lying in a hospital bed, wearing a hospital gown. She was emaciated, pale, and bloodless. And 4 drip was in the back of her hand, and ECG electrodes were stuck to her chest. The collar of her hospital gown faintly revealed unhealed knife wounds, the result of her recent self-harm. These are Ryan On's design drafts from 2019 to 2021. She held up a thick stack of yellowed papers. On November 3, 2019, at 2 a.m., Ryan On sent me a message from the library saying the phoenix's eyes should have tears of nirvana. Sophia played a voice recorder. My voice, mixed with the humming of a coffee machine, flowed out. Sophia, the prototype for Chapter 3's maze is based on a complex ancient maze design. Mr. On, and look at Weibo. Hearing this, I opened Weibo and found that Sophia had posted several videos, displaying a large amount of draft/design documents, programming records, and the Git version history for all my design diagrams, with timestamps accurate to the millisecond. All the content pointed to one fact: Mountain and Sea Ablaze was my original work, not Mark's. I participated in parts of this game's process. I can prove that every creative idea came from Ryan On. Regarding Mark's actions, I will seriously consider taking him to court to protect Ryan On's legal rights. Public opinion reversed. I bounced back from the bottom. Mark originally thought he could completely overthrow me this time, but he didn't expect Sophia to come forward and testify for me. He could only delete his posts and apologize. His family business also suffered from this turmoil. With partners/collaborators terminating their contracts one after another. The internet was full of verbal attacks and malicious accusations against him. At the end of the live stream, Sophia's cold face forced a smile. I hope everyone will pay close attention to Mr. Ryan On's Mountain and Sea Ablaze game auction tomorrow. Ryan On, I hope I can make up for this a little bit. Listening to her words over the buzzing line, I was silent for a moment, my thoughts complex. The game's auction price on the official website quickly recovered, even exceeding its previous level. At the auction, Sophia was wheeled in, just as I had been when I first arrived in France. A colleague joked, "Miss Sophia isn't going to bid on Mr. On's Mountain and Sea Ablaze, is she?" There were many bidders, and the price soared, but many stopped bidding when they couldn't afford more. In the final bidding war, only Sophia and a Russian client remained. 10 million. 11 million. Teresa rubbed her face, exclaiming, "We're not even selling the game outright, there's still countless money from future revenue. My dream is truly coming true. But your ex-fiancée is certainly persistent. Is she trying to win you back?" I paid no mind, watching it like a play. In the end, Mountain and Sea Ablaze was bought by Sophia for $2 million. The auction price was almost equal to the total of the top 10 other games combined. After the transaction was confirmed, Sophia walked towards me. After her leg injury, she had been working non-stop for several days. Her face was pale, her features still clouded with melancholy. "I bought this game as a gift for you. I've always recognized your talent, and it will surely shine brightly in the future. I can shift my work focus to France. Are you willing to?" Sophia pursed her lips, seeming a little nervous. I smiled politely. "Thank you for your appreciation, Mr. On. Aside from work, I'm not willing to discuss anything else. I just see this as a good profit. Farewell." Sophia's eyelashes fluttered rapidly. Her bloodless lips coughed, shattering her existing hopes, but I turned away without hesitation. At the press conference, I accepted questions from reporters. Someone asked with curiosity, "Miss Ryan, Miss Sophia from back home / in the States bought Mountain and Sea Ablaze for $2 million US. She also presented your design drafts as evidence when you were caught in the plagiarism scandal. Do you have any special relationship? Are you friends, or lovers?" I hesitated for a few seconds, then finally explained frankly, "We were friends back home / in the States and discussed the creation of the Mountain and Sea Ablaze game." But the music had ended, the connection severed. After the press conference, Sophia leaned on crutches, her assistant supporting her as she approached me. I was discussing the next game design with a colleague and didn't intend to pay attention to her, but then the roar of an engine suddenly came from behind me. The moment I turned my head, an unmarked van was speeding towards us. Sitting in the driver's seat was a gaunt Mark, his face unshaven and vacant, his eyes full of hatred. "Ryan, look out!" Sophia threw off her assistant and pushed me away with all her might. Due to the weakness in her calf, she collapsed onto the ground and was hit by the speeding van. Bang! I rushed over quickly, but Sophia was already covered in blood, her body mangled and unrecognizable. "Sophia, are you okay?" Sophia struggled to pull out a smile. For the first time since our reunion, she held my hand. Coughing blood, she slowly said, "Teddy, I love you. In the next life, I want to love you sincerely and purely." With that, her hand went limp and dropped. Mark was sentenced to death for intentional homicide, and Sophia's family took her back home / in the States for burial. In the 100th prank game, the plane crash, the Ryan connected to Sophia had already disappeared. The one who lived on in his place was Ryan On. Ryan On, who lived only for himself, his family, and his dreams. I chose to stay in France and continue working on the next game design. Another international game design competition came around. I submitted my new work and became the first game designer to win the Gold Award consecutively. And the new beginning / fresh start after rebirth had just begun.